Yeah, like Mr. Dern said it, my name is Matthew. I am a person with autism, and my main focus is showing you guys what my life has gone through since when I was little, about what it's like when I went through with autism. But before I begin going through my life, I want to give you basically defining what autism is. The main definition of it is it's a treatable neurological spectrum disorder that affects between 1 to 150 children, youth, and adults in BC alone. Most people that have autism also see things differently than other people, and that's one of my reasons why I got diagnosed with autism. And some people that have autism may have problems learning different subjects anywhere, and that's another reason too I got diagnosed. So beginning of my life, can we dim the front lights? That way you can. There you go, look at me. That's me as a newborn right there. Born on May 7th, 1998, and that was the very first picture of me when I was born. So, jumping to preschool, I went to a preschool called the Child Development Center. Have you guys heard of that place? No? No, it's okay. The Child Development Center is a very popular place for a couple reasons. But I'll basically tell you the main reason of it. Is, if you think about it, most of the popular events that go on in Nanaimo publicly, mostly in the summer, the money that gets raised actually goes to the Child Development Center. Just because there's so many people there that have learning problems, like myself that was there, and there's a various group of people you'll see at that building. And I went there for 2 years, and it was an interesting place to go for preschool, and I made a lot of new friends, and the very first time I ever met friends was here. Now, in elementary school, I went to Uplands Park Elementary School. It's a pretty good school, but there was a lot of ups and downs that happened during my years. I'm going to start with the first grade. So in grade 1, I had a lot of learning problems, as well as behavior issues, especially during recess. Now, of course, you always would see, almost not every day, but most of the time, when it comes to recess and lunch breaks in places, you'll see a lot of people misbehaving, right? It happens all the time, especially in elementary school. I've been seeing it, and it happened with me because I was fighting a lot and get into a lot of trouble, especially in grade 4. Grade 4 was the worst school year because I got into a lot of trouble from the principal for many different things that was all fighting, but most of it was the reasons was because of bullying. I used to be a bully 10 years ago. And almost every 2 days, you would be seeing me in the principal's office because I was in a lot of trouble and I had to learn a lot of lessons. But I did learn some lessons a little bit, and my behavior did start to improve more throughout grades 5 to 7. Not 100%, but it was getting. Now, high school, sadly, I did not come to this school. Overall, this is a good school, though. I looked all around. I was here yesterday too. And it's a big school. But no, I went to Wellington Secondary School, home of the Wildcats. I still cheer for them, even though I graduated from there. And starting with the 8th grade, the very first day, of course, is very different because when you do a new chapter in your life, everything changes. And because 2 weeks into my first year of high school, I made a lot of new friends, and I also started to love going to school. And if you think about this, when you leave elementary school and you go to high school, you actually meet 2 times more people than you did in elementary school. It's a true story. Even when you go to your next grade level, in grade 9, 10, 11, and 12, you meet another 2 times because there could be people from another school transferring here, or people from out of town that move to Nanaimo, they'll come here. It happens all the time, every year. Everybody moves around. Now my biggest moment in grade 11, I'm going to bump to grade 11 mainly because grades 9 and 10 were the same thing as grade 8. So there's a big moment in grade 11 where I decided to change my life completely on my own. Now I'm really going to tell you now an interesting story, and it's going to think it's unbelievable. Are you guys ready? Yeah. Are you really ready? I want to really hear it. Are you ready? Yes. So there was one night when I was trying to fall asleep, but I just couldn't fall asleep. Like, you ever had the moments where you try to fall asleep but you really couldn't? And things just go into your brains about things you've remembered from years ago that you wish you couldn't remember anymore? Well, that happened one night, just back in February, 3 years ago now. I was thinking about all the things I was doing back in grade 4 when I was in trouble, bullying lots of people, and I just wasn't sure how to change it. Because it's tough to change that in life. Even at a teenager age, it's hard to change it. So the only way I was able to fall asleep was actually trying to think about how I should change it. So what I did was, the next day when I went to school, I actually felt emotional about this. I apologized to every single person out there that I've known for many years and apologized for what I did. And then once my life changed completely like that, all the people I've known just started to become amazing friends to me. And it was emotional because I was crying. And lots of people were, because they knew I was not joking and I was being serious about it. Now, grade 12, my final year of high school, of course, was emotional because, mainly, like I said a little earlier, I loved going to high school. I wish I still was. But another reason, too, was emotional is because of leaving all my friends that you've known for a long time, maybe 5 or so more years. And also during the 2016 high school award ceremony, I received something called a School Spirit Award, and I heard that you guys at school have a School Spirit Award, which really makes me happy, because getting a School Spirit Award actually means something. It means something because if you show lots of leadership and you actually participate in lots of special events and showing respect to Mr. Barron, Mr. Balcom, the principal, the vice principals, then you would deserve a School Spirit Award. And I won it 2 years, my grade 11 year and this year, that year's award ceremony, just for those reasons. Now, here I am in grade 8, and that's me in grade 12. Just like to share that, because that way it's kind of like looking through a yearbook, but I like to share them. Now this card, this was actually the best graduation card I ever got. This is actually from Rock City Elementary School, from all the students and staff, because when I was in grade 12, 2 months before I graduated, it was April 2016, I was presenting at their school for an Autism Awareness Assembly. And then because they enjoyed it so much, 2 months later, they actually decided to make this card and surprise me with it. And I was at a private youth graduation banquet, and there was someone that worked at Rock City at the time that went, and she knew I was going. So all of a sudden, she decided to give a big envelope to me, and I was like, what the heck is this? So all of a sudden, I opened it, and it had this big thing on here. I'm thinking, oh no, I'm in trouble. So I opened it, and this is what it was. It has all the people, students' names, even the teachers, even the principal wrote on there. Mr. Young, who was the principal at the time. You might have met Patrick Young.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the principal at the time there. He's a really good guy. I have a good connection with him, and yeah, he definitely wrote on there. I'm never gonna forget him and the students there. And because of how much they enjoyed me, I got asked to present there last 2 years too, which was awesome. Okay, now this is my favorite part I like to share. It's I call the big step. And I call it the big step for a couple of reasons. So this is, first of all, it's my grad ceremony at the Port Theater. But there's a big award there, you see right there on a wooden plaque. They call it the Tom Mason Wildcat Award. And that's actually Mr. Mason right there. He was the vice principal at Wellington Secondary School. And he's actually worked at Wellington for 26 years. And because he's done so much to the school, and the teachers decided to actually surprise him for his retirement, for giving him this big present for that award. And they wanted to award a student that actually did that same type of thing too. Because I did a lot of work throughout grade 11 and 12, especially in grade 12, because I did a lot of work with Mr. Mason because we were just completing a renovation we were doing with Wellington to make the school earthquake safe. and we had a new presentation room built in the school, and we were the first to count how many seats could fit. So that was one thing I definitely remember. And we did a lot of setting up of the new school together. So that was another reason why I won that award. I'm going to show you up close now. So that's the actual award. It's actually in the school. So if you ever go into Wellington in the future, go through the main entrance, just right across, just outside the presentation room. That is it. And there's my name there. The very first student that won it. Now, this is the part where I play the video. I'm going to show you guys a video when I got that award, because it blew me away when I got that award, and it was a huge surprise. There we
This is
go.
a new award presented for the first time in 2016. This award goes to a student who, much like Mr. Mason, represented the spirit of Wellington and what it takes to be a Wildcat. We are awarding a graduate who succeeded in a number of ways in and out of the classroom, showed tremendous growth, leadership, school, and community spirit. The recipient for 2016 has displayed tremendous pride in Wellington, volunteered whenever asked, and often when not asked to, was welcoming and engaging to all other students with no attention to age, grade, or social group. The student gave countless hours to all activities at the school, large and small, and until today seemed happy with owning a school t-shirt as a thank you. The plaque to this award reads, awarded to a Wellington graduate for outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to school and community. And we are very proud of calling it the Tom Mason Wildcat Award.
By the way, that's Mr. Lintott, the school principal at Wellington. And he's still there to this day, actually.
He's a big softie.
Now, this is a big moment.
The recipient of the 2016 and inaugural Tom Mason Wildcat Award is Matthew Krastel.
What did you guys think of that? Very surprising. I noticed you clapping there. Thank you. Yeah, but it was a huge surprise. Like, none of us were actually expecting that to happen. There we go. So after that time, I definitely felt disappointed to leave all the people I've known for a long time, because I don't know when I would ever see them next. Like, I've been seeing about half of them still, but the other half, I haven't, because of probably moving out of town or just busy with university and stuff like that. The month after high school, I started I'm working part-time at a place called Lowe's. It's a really good place to work. I'm a loader there, that's my position. It's a very easy position, I really enjoy it. I just lift heavy things into people's vehicles, and I also get orders for customers that they order from, both online or just regular order. And now this question I want you to think about, it's going to take a lot of time for you to think about this, is how can you show your school spirit? Because you guys are in grade 11 now, I know your graduation's coming up pretty soon, but you have lots of time to think about this. It's hard to answer it because there's more than one answer. But think about that for the next while. And if you ever, in the future, ever win a school spirit award at your award ceremony, you would deserve it. Because you know from my question, and you thought of an answer. And it would definitely make not just Mr. Barron, but everybody in the school district happy. So before I wrap up, if anyone has any questions, this would be the time now. Anyone has any questions? Guess not. All right, well, before I finish, I have a website. The website is www.mmkrastel.wix.com/mysite. I got my presentation videos from other places on there. And I've also been in radio interviews as well. And I got tons of other awesome stuff on there too that you like. And I also have information cards here that I can pass around if anyone's interested. Just looks like this. If anyone wants one, what we can do is, if you're interested, you can raise your hand and I will come down and pass one out, and that wraps it up for me. Thank you. All right, good morning, or afternoon now. How's everybody doing? Good? You guys enjoying your lunch? Yeah, I know, everyone's hungry. At least I had donuts. Thanks, Mr. Sattermo. Anyways, like the teacher said it, my name is Matthew Krastel. I am a person with autism. I've been diagnosed with autism when I was 2.5 years old. And that's my main part of my presentation, is what I'm gonna share with you right now is my life with autism. But before I begin, actually telling you guys since the beginning of my life, I'm going to define what autism is to you guys. The main definition of that is it's a treatable neurological spectrum disorder that affects between 1 to 150 children, youth, and adults in BC alone. Most people that have autism also can see things differently than other people, and that's one of my reasons why I got diagnosed. And some people that have autism may have problems learning different subjects anywhere, and that's another reason why I got diagnosed. And there's tons of other reasons why people get diagnosed with autism, but those two are my big reasons to why. Now, the beginning of my life, there I am as a newborn. I was born on May 7th, 1998, and that was the very first picture of my life. Preschool, I went to a special place called the Child Development Center. Has anyone heard of that place? Yeah, there's a couple people, that's good. Yeah, it is a popular place. And actually most of the special events that happen in Nanaimo that raise money for things usually go to that building, the Child Development Center, because they have special needs people a lot there as well. Like, of course, I'm a person with special needs, and there's tons of other people I've met, and the first group of friends I met was there, and I met tons of new friends there, and I also learned how to communicate better a little bit, just with friends-wise, because before I went there, I never had any friends. Now, the elementary school, went to Uplands Park Elementary School, really good school, but there was a lot of ups and downs that I've had in my life there, and I'm going to explain to it now, starting in the first grade. So since the beginning of grade 1, I had a lot of learning problems as well as behavior issues, especially during recess. Now, I know you guys have always, not all the time and every day, but there'll be times during breaks, like lunch breaks and stuff, where you'll see a lot of behaviors having a lot of issues, where there's fighting, there's some disrespectful conversations. It happens all the time. You guys heard it? Of course, it happens all the time. And grade 4 was the worst school year for me because I got into a lot of trouble from going to the principal's office. Like, if you were there at the time, you should have seen me. Almost every couple days, I would always be in the principal's office for many different things. And actually, the main reason of that was because I was bullying. I was bullying a lot in school, and this was 10 years ago already. And once I learned my lessons a lot in grade 4, my behavior started to improve a little bit, but it wasn't really the greatest, but I was getting there. But it wasn't to the biggest step yet. So high school, I did not come here, sadly, but I did look around the school since yesterday, because I was here yesterday too, presenting in some other classes. And it's the biggest school I've ever been in, actually. I swear to God, it's a big school. But no, I went to Wellington Secondary School. It's also a really good school, and this school I enjoyed the most for many reasons, and I'm going to explain to it now. In grade 8, the very first day of high school, of course, is very different, because the reason it's different is when you started here in the 8th grade, you actually meet 2 times more people you did here than you did in elementary school. It's a true story. It happened to me, and 2 weeks into my first year of high school, I made a lot of new friends, and I also started going to school for that reason. And of course, I liked taking my education. Now I'm going to bump to grade 11 because grades 9 and 10 were basically the same as in grade 8. I had a big moment in my life that year where I decided on my own to change my life completely. Now I'm going to tell you guys an interesting story. Are you guys all ready to hear it? Okay. So there was one night back in February a few years ago, I was trying to fall asleep. Now, has anybody ever had the moment where you try to fall asleep but you really couldn't, and things just could go into your brains about things you remember from the past which you wish you could forget? This is what I'm talking about. When I was trying to fall asleep that one night, something was coming to my brain, and it was making me think back into grade 4, which I was already explaining, where I used to be a bully 10 years ago. And it just came into my mind and thinking, when could I stop this? When could I one day just be a better person to people in school? And there was actually a way I could do it the next day. So do you know what I did the next day? I went to every single student the next day. I was feeling emotional, and I was in tears too, just to show how much I really care, and how much I actually really am sorry for what I did years ago. And then once my life changed completely, all my friends in high school started to become such amazing friends to me. And they still do to this day, because look at me now. I'm a serious person, but I'm not a person that would bully people anymore. Now in grade 12, of course, the last year of high school, when I was you guys' age, was definitely emotional. Well, for a couple of reasons. The first reason, of course, I love going to school, and I still wish I was in school, but the friends that I was there are all going away. Half of them actually moved out of town, and I just haven't seen them since. So and I still feel emotional from it. But during the 2016 high school awards ceremony, I received something called a School Spirit Award. And I'm glad to hear that this school has a School Spirit Award. And there's a good reason to it. You can actually make a difference if you show a School Spirit Award and you actually receive it. Because there's numerous reasons that you can actually win it. And I won it because of not just the change I had, but just being a leader for newer students that came to the school, like the grade 8s. It happens every year, and there has to be someone that's been here for a couple of years that can help them out to make them be the same as you. Because you're not here for many, many years. So there I am, I'm in the 8th grade, so that was 2011. And there I am in grade 12. I just like to share that comparison, but I don't look too different. But it sucked though, because it didn't. I didn't have that grade 8 comparison in my yearbook, so I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna share that. Just for now. Okay, now this card here, this was actually the best graduation card I ever got, because this is actually from Rock City Elementary School, from all the students and all the staff, even the principal wrote in there. So I'm going to also tell you another interesting story. About 2 weeks before I actually graduated, there was actually a private youth graduation banquet I went to. And there was an educational assistant teacher that used to work at Rock City back at the time. And all of a sudden, I remember, this teacher that used to be there, she knew I was coming to the banquet. So she came with this big envelope to me, and I was like, what the heck is it? It was big, believe me. It's not a standard size if you think of a birthday or Christmas card. Like, it's not that small. It's bigger. So I was like, all right, I'll open it. And then true enough, there was this big card, and it had 2016 on the front, but something else, I forgot what it was. Then I opened it, and this was it. And just when I saw some names, I was like, I was crying. Because the reason why I had those names on there was because I presented at Rock City 2 months before I graduated there for the first time about autism awareness. And because they enjoyed it, they decided to write on there. And even the principal wrote on there. Mr. Young, who was the principal back then at the time. Do you remember Mr. Patrick Young?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was the principal at Rock City at the time. He's now a principal at Allen Connected. Yeah, he's one of the best principals I've ever met. And I'm glad he wrote on that card. Because that was a good card, and I'm never going to throw it away. Alright, so I'm going to share with you my most favorite part of my presentation called the Big Step. And the reason I call it the Big Step is because I won this interesting award. You can see it right there. They call it the Tom Mason Wildcat Award, and that is Mr. Mason right there. He used to be the vice principal at Wellington Secondary School, but he was just retiring the same time as when I was graduating. And because, I'm not joking on this, but he used to work with Wellington for 26 years. And because of how much work he's done to Wellington, the teachers decided to actually surprise him for his retirement to make his own award and always be recognized every year with his name on it, Tom Mason Wildcat Award, just to show how much he did to the school. But they wanted to also award a student that did that same type of thing for showing school spirit. This is an extra step to school spirit, which I was talking about, that school spirit award. This is the advantage step to it. And I was actually working with Mr. Mason a lot in grade 12. Almost every day before school, I used to always do some extra work with him, and we'd get things done. And yeah, of course, that's me there. This is at the grad ceremony too, by the way. And I'm going to show you now what it looks like. So that's the award there, and it's just in the hallway, and there's my name. I'm the very first student that won it. Now, I'm actually going to share you guys a video on what it was like when I got that award, because it's very emotional, and I just can't help but sharing this. Yeah, you're gonna have to. I never use a computer that has an awkward drag. Perfect. Audio, I didn't test it, so. Perfect.
So our final award for today.
Probably not too loud though.
This is a new award presented for the first time in 2016. This award goes to a student who, much like Mr. Mason, represented the spirit of Wellington and what it takes to be a Wildcat. We are awarding a graduate who succeeded in a number of ways in and out of the classroom, showed tremendous growth, leadership, school, and community spirit. The recipient for 2016 has displayed tremendous pride in Wellington, volunteered whenever asked, and often when not asked to, was welcoming and engaging to all other students with no attention to age, grade, or social group. The student gave countless hours to all activities at the school, large and small, and until today seemed happy with one of his school t-shirt as a thank you.
And that's Mr. Lintott, the school principal at Wellington.
The plaque to this award reads, awarded to a Wellington graduate for outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to school and community. And we're very proud of calling it the Tom Mason Wildcat Award.
Ready for the big moment? This is it.
He's a big son. The recipient of the 2016 and inaugural Tom Mason Wildcat Award is Matthew Krastel.
did you guys think of that?
Awesome.
Yeah, I know. You know what? That was a huge surprise. I'm not joking. What happened was, yeah, it was completely unexpected. Like, neither myself or Mr. Mason didn't know.
Really?
No.
Oh, excellent.
We didn't find out until once it was Mr. Linton on the video announced it.
That's cool.
No, none of us were ready for it. And it was just near the end of that ceremony too. It was the very last thing.
Aww.
And then, yeah, just after that time, once I graduated from high school, I definitely felt disappointed to leave all the friends I know for a long time. And actually just, of course you didn't see it, but after that video was shot, I was crying when I sat down. I'm not kidding. It was so emotional. So a month after the ceremony, a month after high school, I started working at a job at Lowe's. I work there, I'm still there working part-time. I'm a loader. So what that is it's an easy position and I really enjoy it. I load a lot of heavy things into people's vehicles, and I also go and search for customers' orders. So it's definitely pretty straightforward and easy. And it's been 2 years now, almost 3 years of doing it, and I definitely enjoy it. Now there's one question that I want to ask to you all, but this is something you don't need to answer because it's going to take you time to think about it. It's going to take you quite a while to think about it because there could be more than one answer for this, which is, how can you show your school spirit to your school? Something you really should start to think about, because there could be a time where, hey, well, you got a lot of time. It's December, June's still far away down the road. So the next several months, you can think about that question and actually think of how can you show your school spirit, because there's many answers. In fact, you can even write that down on a sheet of paper. Maybe that's something. Because it usually takes people time, but I've had some people answer that question to me, and I had some impressive answers, but you don't have to answer them to me today. Now, before wrapping up, if anyone has any questions, this would be the time now. If anyone has any questions.
Any questions you're wondering?
Anyone? Don't be shy. Yeah.
What was your strongest subject in school?
The strongest subject that I liked, I definitely liked physical education. Physical education was the course I enjoyed even in elementary school and high school. Mainly because I like getting exercise. Even running was something I liked. And every time I tell people about running, then like, let's do a run, they get so mad at me. Because we run around Emerald Drive and all that mountain, and I'm like, because I peer tutor physical education in grade 12. And I for a girl's physical education 12 class, I'm not kidding. And I'm like, and the one time the teacher asked me, what do you think we should do for warming up? And I would explain to the class, and Joy said, we're gonna do an Emerald run, and then they're like, they're booing at me, boo. But come on, we need to make sure you get fit, let's go. Yeah, that was one memory I remember. Grade 12, there's a lot of things I enjoyed. Drama I was in as well, in grade 12. And peer tutoring PE was fun too. Like, I was the funniest one out there. That's really the biggest one I can tell you is physical education. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else?
Questions?
Don't be shy. Yeah.
What was your biggest obstacle to overcome in school?
My biggest obstacle?
Yeah, the biggest thing you had to get over, overcome, or is it being a struggle for you?
To be honest with you, high school of course was a struggle.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect a huge change in me in high school. I thought I was going to be completely the same all the way through. And to be honest with you, I keep forgetting to mention that when I changed my life in grade 11, I didn't have anybody helping me. That's the reason why I tried to fall asleep, but I couldn't. Usually you would have to be asking a teacher or a counselor especially, or your parents. That didn't happen. I just did this all by myself. And it's really rare to have something like that happen to yourself. I'm not kidding. It's pretty rare.
Yeah, I just want to say how impressive that is to hear you take accountability for your behaviors and have that awareness at your young age, because I know a lot of adults that don't. have real good self-awareness, and I just think that's very impressive, very wise.
Yeah, like I go to almost every single autism event here in Nanaimo because we usually just do them once or twice a year. This coming new year, we're expecting 2. We should be doing one in April for Autism Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And every 2 years here in Nanaimo, we do something called an Autism Expo. And we do it at Bevan Park, and it's a fun event for anybody of all ages to come in and check out some things. And there's games, there's awesome snacks. I've been to it before, but they didn't have it this year because they did last year's. So it'll be October. They usually do it in October.
Okay.
So, and that's where I got my shirts. Because,
Awesome.
so I got all the colors too, and I got my bracelets the same thing too.
So you helping others, raising awareness, that gives you purpose, obviously.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I try to go to as many schools as I can to go through this and spread it.
Yeah.
So that way people know what it's like,
Yeah.
especially with my life, because my life is very rare.
Yeah.
Not because I'm very different than all of you folks.
Yeah. Question.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Why do you think you were bullying all those years?
Well, I just couldn't help it. Like the way I was thinking and stuff is mostly physical stuff,
Right.
like physical abuse, and I just couldn't help it.
Yeah.
But it was hard to learn my lessons. That's why I was in the principal's office a lot. But I know people were angry at me at that. I can't believe it was 10 years ago. Anybody else?
Questions, guys?
No.
Was communication hard for you as a young person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Meeting new friends, especially in elementary school, was the toughest because I was a bully. And just no one was interested.
Right.
Yes.
Were your parents ever trying to help you at all?
The only way they would, of course, they found out I was bullying, and actually, do what happened every time, I get punished. And that's what happened. That's what every parent should be like. And actually, I'm aware of that. Most parents aren't like that.
Yeah.
My parents are strict. Most parents out there, especially now, aren't. I've met tons of students' parents before, not these ones, but I've met tons of others over the years. And most of them don't have those type of restrictions. Some of them do, but not as many as I heard.
So your parents didn't allow for you to get away with that kind of stuff just because you had autism. They held you accountable for your behavior. That's good. That's good.
Anyone else? Are you really sure? Yeah, well, just before I wrap up, I have more information and awesome stuff on my website, which is www.mmkrastel.wix.com/my-site. I have some videos of my presentations from other schools. I recently just uploaded a video on my YouTube from my other classes here in the school just last night, so that you can check out. It's exactly 1 hour long for 3 classes. And I was also in some awesome interviews as well. They're also on the website. And I also have information cards I will give out to anyone that's interested. They look like this.
Awesome.
So if anyone is interested, what I would do is raise your hand if you're interested, and I will come pass them out, and that is it.
Awesome. Okay, well, I will definitely take one, please.
Yeah, for sure.
And, yeah, thank you
Yes.
so much for doing that. That's awesome.
How are you guys doing? Good? Last block of the day? Yeah, I know, time's flying. But yeah, like she said, my name is Matthew Krastel. I am a person with autism. I got diagnosed with autism when I was 2.5 years old. And my main purpose of my presentation today is actually to share with you guys what it was like going through my life from my young age to present. But before I begin actually sharing my life, I want to actually define to you guys what autism is. Autism, the main definition of it is it's a treatable neurological spectrum disorder that affects between 1 to 150 children, youth, and adults in BC alone. And most people that have autism see things differently than other people, and that's one reason why I got diagnosed with autism. And some people that have autism may have problems learning different subjects anywhere, and that's my second reason why I got diagnosed. But there's many reasons out there that people get diagnosed with autism, but I won't explain that. Because there's different type of disorders that people have, and there's tons of other reasons too. And that's one of the reasons why we have a Skills for Life program, is for people that have problems learning different subjects, they can start doing it in a younger level. So the beginning of my life, that is me as a newborn right there. I was born on May 7th, 1998, 20 years ago already. And that was the very first picture of my life. And I always like to share that. Now, preschool, this building here is a popular place. It's called the Child Development Center. I don't know if, have any of you guys heard of that building before? It's a popular place. Not everybody's gone there, but I went there for 2 years in preschool. And actually most of the special events that occur in Nanaimo, mostly in the summer events, anything that raises money, most of those fundings actually go to that place, to the Child Development Center, because most of the people there have special needs. They have problems with learning, and actually that place was the very first place I actually made a group of friends. Before then, it was just my family, and just 0 friends. Now, elementary school, I went to Uplands Park Elementary School. It's a really good school, but there were a lot of ups and downs with my behavior. I'm going to start with sharing this in the first grade. So since the beginning of grade 1, I had a lot of learning problems, like I was saying just a few minutes ago, as well as behavior issues, especially during recess. Now, of course, there will be times, even in a school like this, where at lunchtime, for example, you would see people misbehaving and causing and fighting and all that. It happens all the time. Not every single day, but most of the time. And of course, it's unacceptable. But of course, when I was in grade 4, it was the worst school year because I got into a lot of trouble from the school principal for many different things. And the main reason of that is because I used to be bullying people. I used to be a person that actually bullied a lot of people. And almost not every single day, but usually like every 2 days, or almost the next day later, you would have seen me in the principal's office and trying to learn a lot of lessons. But it was hard for me then. But once more and more people told me to just learn a lot of lessons, my behavior did improve a little bit more throughout grades 5 to 7, but it wasn't 100% as how it is now. Now, high school, I did not come to this school, unfortunately, but I did look around this place since yesterday, and it's a really good building. But Wellington Secondary School is the high school I went to, and it's another great school, and it was just renovated just a few years ago. And I really enjoyed high school for a couple of reasons, and I'm going to start with sharing with you guys what it was like when I was starting there in grade 8. The very first day of high school, of course, is very different, because the main reason to that is when you go to high school, if you think about this, if you remember when you guys were in grade 8, just leaving elementary school and a couple of months later, starting here at Dover, you actually meet about 2 times more people here than you would in elementary school. It's a true story. And even when you go to grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, it's the same thing again, because people from another school would move to another school and exchange schools. Or even people from out of town would actually move here and come to the school and start a new life in a new city. It happens every year. Everybody moves around and starts a new chapter in their life. Now I'm going to bump to grade 11 because grades 9 and 10 were the same thing as to what it was similar in grade 8. But there's a big moment that happened in grade 11 that was what I wanted to do on my own to change my life completely. Now I want to tell you guys an interesting story. Are you guys all ready to hear it? I really want to hear this. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yes, excellent. So there was a time where I was trying to fall asleep when I was going to bed. Have any of you guys ever had a moment where you try to fall asleep but you really couldn't, and things just come into your brain that you're starting to think about, were things you just want to forget? That's exactly what I'm talking about right now. That's what happened. I tried to fall asleep, and all of a sudden, I just couldn't, because what was coming into my brain was things I was talking about in grade 4, where I was a bully, and I can't believe it was 10 years ago already. And I just tried to remember what I was doing, and I was thinking to myself, how can I change this? Because it's really hard to change that type of thing by yourself. And there was just me in my own bed. I just couldn't fall asleep. I was thinking, what should I do to fix this? Because usually it takes lots of time. It usually doesn't take the next day. Usually it takes weeks or months. But guess what? The next day, I'm serious, the next day, I went to school and I felt emotional, and I apologized to every single person I've known for many years, just to prove that what I did years ago was wrong. And I was in tears, and most of them actually were too, because they knew I was serious and I wasn't joking. And then once my life changed completely, and that's exactly what it is in my next point. Once my life changed completely, all my friends in high school just started to become amazing friends to me, and they still do to this day because the way I'm acting now. And then even in grade 12, the last year of high school was, of course, emotional for a couple reasons. Of course, I loved going to high school. I wish I still was. And of course, the friends I've been connecting with there, they're just about to leave, and they just start a new chapter. Just like myself with a new chapter in my life. And during the 2016 high school award ceremony, I received something called a School Spirit Award. And I was overheard the other day that you guys have a School Spirit Award in the school, which really makes me proud. Because there is a reason why I wish every school actually has that award. Mainly because if you win it, you can make a difference. And I'm making a difference because I'm actually trying to share this and spread autism awareness. And I won the School Spirit Award not just because I changed my life completely. When I won that award, it wasn't just because I changed my life completely. But there was other things too. When I try to show leadership and commitment to a school and community, and for the new students that go to the school, I try to get them to make sure they can step up when they grow up to do that same thing. And that's the main reason why I won that School Spirit Award. And I also won it in grade 11 too for that same type of reason. Yeah, so that's me in grade 8. This is true. And that's me when I was you guys' age, grade 12. There's actually not a huge comparison, but the reason why I like to share it is because in my yearbook in grade 12, I didn't have the grade 8 picture in it, like most yearbooks do. So I decided, you know what, in my presentation, I'm gonna do it, so.
Love the mustache.
Yes, yes, I used to have it. I don't grow facial hair anymore because people were gonna say I look like a homeless. So. I had people come up to me like that, so I was like, okay, that's it. But anyways, this card was literally the best graduation card I ever got. Now you're curious to know who it's from. This is actually from an entire school, Rock City Elementary School. Now 2 months before I graduated in April in 2016, I was presenting my, not exactly the PowerPoint presentation, but a speech about autism awareness, because it was during Autism Awareness Month, because April is always Autism Awareness Month. And 2 months later, since they really enjoyed my presentation, they surprised me with this big card, and they wrote all their names on there. Even the staff wrote on there, and the principal too wrote on there. And what happened, how I got that card was there was a private youth graduation banquet I was at 2 weeks before my actual graduation ceremony. And there's someone that was working there at Rock City at the time that knew that I was coming to this banquet, and she was going as well. So she brought the card over, and true enough, it was a big envelope. And I was like, what the heck is this? I'm like, is this like a trip or something prize, like, or a couple $1,000s? That was another reaction too, I just remembered too. So I opened the envelope, and true enough, there was a big card like this, and it had 2016 on there, was something else, I keep forgetting what it is. And I opened it, and this is what it was, and when I opened it, I was just crying. I'm like, what is this? And it has all these names on there, and yeah, I'm never gonna throw that card away. It was the best card I ever got. Alright, now I'm gonna share with you my most favorite and biggest moment of all time in my life, called the Big Step. And I call it the Big Step for a really good reason. This award here is actually a very special award. They call it the Tom Mason Wildcat Award. And that is actually Mr. Mason right there. He just retired that time as a vice principal at Wellington Secondary. And because he was working at Wellington for 26 years, I'm not kidding, it's 26 years he's been working at Wellington, and he's done so much to the school, the teachers decided to actually surprise him for his retirement gift, to actually have his own award on a wood plaque. And they wanted to award a student that did that similar type of thing. And this is actually a double step towards the School Spirit Award. And I'm going to show you that award right now. So that's it there. So it's in the school hallway, and I'm the very first student to win it. And it's still going to be recognized every year too, for every student that graduates that can do that same thing. Now I'm going to be sharing a video of this. I have a video of in the grad ceremony where I actually won that award. Yeah, he's better at dragging the screen than me.
To our final award
It's a
today,
bit tricky.
which leads me to our final.
Oh yes. There.
There.
That is it. That is Mr. Lintott, the school principal at Wellington.
He used to be the vice principal here.
Yes, I realized by the grad portrait.
Oh.
This is a new award presented for the first time in 2016. This award goes to a student who, much like Mr. Mason, represented the spirit of Wellington and what it takes to be a wildcat. We are awarding a graduate who succeeded in a number of ways in and out of the classroom, showed tremendous growth, leadership, school, and community spirit. The recipient for 2016 has displayed tremendous pride and competence, volunteered whenever asked, not without asking, was welcoming and engaging to all other students with no attention to age, grade, or social group. The student gave countless hours to all activities at the school, large and small, and until today seemed happy with only a school t-shirt as a thank you. The plaque to this award reads, awarded to a Wellington graduate for outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to school and community. And we're very proud of calling it the Tom Mason Wildcat Award. Let's present to our deserving graduate.
Ready for the big moment?
He's a big son. The recipient of the 2016 and inaugural Tom Mason Wildcat Award is Matthew Krastel.
Yeah, what did you guys think of that?
Nice job.
Yeah, oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was actually a surprise. It was a huge surprise because none of us were expecting that. Literally, I'm not, really not kidding. Yeah, that was actually right near the end of the ceremony too. Like, and just after that, oh man, when I graduated from high school, I definitely felt disappointed just to leave just all the friends I've known for a long time. And and you didn't see it in the footage, but just once that footage was done, I was crying. I was sitting back down and I was crying. I was like, I can't believe that actually happened. The standing ovation is what made me cry.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it, but I saw the front row standing up, and I was like, oh. I just couldn't help it. So a month after high school, I started working at Lowe's here in town. Still working there part-time, and I definitely enjoy my job. I'm a loader there, so I load a lot of heavy things with people's vehicles, as well as looking for any orders for customer pickup. And I definitely enjoy it there. Now I'm really going to be serious here. There's one question I want to ask to all of you guys to actually really think about for the next while. Because this is going to take you a lot of time to think about this. And there's definitely more than one answer to this, which is, how can you show your school spirit to the school? How can you do it? There's tons of reasons and answers to this. There's a lot of answers to it, so it's something you could even write down, make a note to, because that's definitely a good question to answer. Because it takes me time. It took me a little time. Didn't take much, but I had knowledge, so I was able to do it. So think about that for the next several months. And if you ever win a school spirit award like that near the end of your year, you would deserve it. Because you followed my question and you actually found a really good answer. Okay, so before I wrap up, if anyone has any questions, this would be the time now. If anyone has any questions.
Question, Drew? What are we
Sure.
wondering?
Do you still do presentations at different schools during Autistic Awareness Month?
Yeah, I presented not just here, I did mostly elementary schools. I presented at Rock City a couple times already, Koltai once. I did go back to my high school just a year after I graduated, did my Back to the High School special. I'm never gonna forget that. I'm also, actually, I recently, just last week, just got asked to present at Rock City this coming April again for Autism Awareness Month. So that's something to be proud of. I'm really excited to go back. It'll be my 4th year there.
Wow.
So that's something to be proud of. I've been trying to, there's tons of schools though I've always wanted to present at, and actually, I'll tell you what, this school is actually one of the schools I've been dreaming to be here for. So that's something I've really been just thrilled and honored to actually be here to this school and actually presenting to a various group of classes. Since yesterday and tomorrow too, I'm expecting 2 more classes to be here for present, and just getting ready for another set of schools hopefully soon. So yeah, something to keep an eye around for.
How did you get like involved in like this like presenting? Like, what did you do to like want to start doing this?
Yeah, like I used to, in elementary school, I actually hosted assemblies when I was in elementary school a couple times. I remember doing Remembrance Day assembly one year in grade 6. And I even hosted a Terry Fox assembly before Terry Fox run. And I was so into the presenting part, I was so interested in taking a step higher, but I didn't know how to do it until after high school. I thought about presenting, and I'm thinking, I got an interesting idea. So I actually made a PowerPoint by myself, and I did this by myself. This is no help from anybody. I did this with my genius brain. I'm not 100% genius, but when it comes to technology on the computer, I kind of am pretty good, because I have a close friend of mine that's really good at computer technology, and he didn't help me out because we weren't exactly that close yet. So I literally decided on my new laptop, because I got a laptop for my graduation present. I'm not kidding, this was my parents that gave it to me. And I had my new slideshow system, so I was like, you know what, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. So, and this is it. And after my very first presentation I used my PowerPoint, it was at Koltai School, it was a huge difference. Because when I did my first presentation at Rock City before I graduated, I never had any of this. I just did everything motivational. So I really like this way better because it's easier to describe. It's easier to describe everything. It's easier for you to read something that comes out of everything. Anyone else?
My sister's 22. She grew up having Down syndrome,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Michaela, I don't know her.
yeah, I actually peer tutored her
Yeah,
in Skills for Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was in grade 11, I was peer tutoring Skills for Life, and yeah, she was in the class.
Yeah.
So I would see her all the time. Hopefully
Yeah.
she's doing good.
Yeah, no, she's having fun. But growing up, she had a lot of trouble kind of blending in with like some other after school activities. There'd be times like in dance class, and mom would poke her head in, and she'd be sitting in the corner, and teacher would kind of like almost neglect her. Do you have anything you think you would say to somebody like that who just kind of leaves those people in the corner?
Yeah, I've had that moment too before, over the years. There's something that's not interesting to me, I would just sit to the side and just relax. But sometimes if they try new things, sometimes it would take them, it does take time to try new things. Like presenting like this takes time because I used to be full stage fright when I was little. The only time I have stage fright now is if my parents were here. I'm not kidding. But overall, probably for Michaela herself with her Down syndrome, it's definitely a lot trickier because it definitely takes more and more time because she's probably not used to so many new things. So maybe, it's hard to say it, but take some practice with it. Like maybe one day just, say for example, you and her go together somewhere and just do something fun, just not a huge group type of thing, but just do something of whatever comes into your mind, but something. If that answers your question. Yeah, it takes a lot of time to think because there's lots of things out there that's fun, but it's just what is interesting for her. You really gotta talk it out with her.
Was communication hard for you as a kid?
Communication, yes. Yeah, communication was definitely hard in elementary school 100% because once again I was a bully and people were just not interested in me because of how aggressive I was. You had a question there.
With new shows coming out like The Good Doctor and Atypical that feature lead characters with autism, I was just wondering what your thoughts were on how the media represents people with autism.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I've just recently heard about that show, The Good Doctor. I never watched the show, but actually recently on my Twitter, people are starting to follow me from that, actually retweet stuff from there. And to be honest with you, autism awareness is highly trending, especially in the United States. It's definitely a high one, and there's definitely people out there that easily can trend it by hashtagging posts, like hashtagging autism awareness. That's the biggest hashtag that people use, and usually people like to spread it out and show support, especially in Autism Awareness Month. And that's in April. That's when people really show support to it, and actually. This shirt here I'm wearing, it says autism awareness and all that, and there's my back there. I got it from an autism event here in town. It only happens usually once or twice a year, unfortunately. We do one in April for Autism Awareness Month called Walk and Bounce for Autism. And they do it at Caledonia Park, and they always sell these shirts, and they have other fun booths and stuff for people of all ages. And every 2 years, at Bevan Park, there's an event called the Autism Expo. They usually do it in October every 2 years. So they should be doing one this coming October in the new year. And that one's really good too because they have this, it's the same type of thing, but they have a lot more. They have a lot more interesting things, lots of more people there that can define really much what autism is. And Canucks Autism Network is a huge thing because, and it's in Vancouver, and they always go there every year, 2 years. And they also have games, they have food and all that. And I was actually thinking one day I might be able to be that type of a person, to have my own booth and stuff to explain my life and what I do and going to different schools to present my life. And that's something that I'm thinking about in the future. Is going into an Autism Expo and actually being involved in that type of thing, volunteering and having my own table and stuff. That's something that's on my list. If that answers all your questions. Yeah.
So if I feel anxious, I will bite my fingernails or rub my hair. How do you cope with intense moments?
when there's intense moments, there are some crazy moments I've done, of course. If I was, are you saying, you mean like if I was ever disappointed or something? Or?
Yeah, kind of something like that, yeah.
Well, if I was disappointed, usually I would go for a long run, a really hard run. Sometimes I will even just lay down and just cry, put my head down. Even, especially in school, head down the desk. That's what I used to do a lot. That's usually the best one out there. Okay. Anyone else?
What was your favorite subject in high school?
Physical education actually was the biggest subject I really liked. Especially in grade 12 was the best. I had it 2 times. Because one was my grade 12 course and one I peer tutor. And I swear to God, it was a girls' PE class. I'm not kidding. They just told me to peer tutor a girls' PE class. I'm like, all right. But actually, I really had a good memory for that, actually, because when I was peer tutoring that PE class, there would be a couple times where the teacher I know really well, she recently retired now, actually. She actually would tell me, what would you want the girls to do the girls when we start the course. And what I said was, we're going to do a run outside. And everyone gets so mad. They're like, all right, girls, we're going to do a run, let's go outside. And they're like, oh, they're just like, I really like running. Like, what's the point of people not liking running? It's better than being overweight. But I really enjoy running. It's something I still do as well. I'm a biking person as well. I love to ride my bike. I even take transit for free as well, so I don't have to drive a car. And also, yeah, just physical education is a huge course. I even took drama in grade 12, and drama was an interesting course too. But my biggest one would be physical education. Did you have a question?
Yeah, you mentioned earlier in the presentation that having autism is very hard for you with learning and interpreting things. I just wanted to kind of hear your aspect on that, like how do you kind of interpret things, or how learning has been over the years for you?
Yeah, sure. I'll share a little extra in my elementary year. When I was even in grade 1, and I think I was in grade 2 as well, I was actually in a Skills for Life class. I usually don't share this to many people, but I used to be in one, just for having problems learning. And I remember the people that were attending there with me, there was actually one person that was actually on a wheelchair, and it was the same thing. She had problems learning, and we actually did some fun things too, just to make sure we had a great time. And I didn't remember every course I was doing in the Skills for Life, but I definitely remember we were taking out the recycling. But yeah, it was fun. I'm not kidding, it was fun. Yeah, because even here at Dover, the Skills for Life team, just when I was finishing my presentation to them yesterday morning, they were actually doing the recycling. And I thought that really makes a difference. Yeah, well, it's true. I'm serious. It really makes a difference. It really makes a difference to actually make sure the school's proper, not dirty, it's nice and clean and tidy. And Skills for Life team really makes a difference that way. So that way they can learn what it's like when, the reason why they do that is actually so if they ever grow up and live in the future, they actually know what to do. And I've learned a lot just from that. And I live on my own now. I moved out almost 2 years ago, and I followed through what my parents have said and learned what I used to do in Skills for Life. And I'm a perfect person living in my place. And yeah, just learning mathematics, of course, is tough. I'm sorry for anyone that loves math. I'm really sorry. Yeah, math was the most challenging subject. That took me a lot of time. But at least I had an educational assistant that was working with me from grades 1 to 7, so at least I wasn't alone. So that's another thing too I forgot to mention. I should have told you too. You had one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my 2 stepbrothers have autism, and they grew up with definitely some learning disabilities, but one of them went to this school in Victoria, I can't remember what it's called, but it's kind of to help people with autism and like
get some more one-on-one attention and like, but do you think for people with autism and some learning disabilities, is it more beneficial for them to go to a school like that compared to public school?
To be honest with you, usually people with autism doesn't have to go to a special school unless depending on how diagnosed they are with their disability. Like I know, like I went to just a regular high school, Wellington Secondary, all the way through. I didn't go to a special place. But if you think about it, when the people in Skills for Life graduate, that were in Skills for Life all the way through grade 8 to 12, they actually go to a special place usually called Clay Tree Society. And that's way down south end of town. And yeah, they go there every day, and I've never been in there before, but I know people that work there. I know tons of people that volunteer with Clay Tree Society, and they actually do a lot of kind of similar things to here in schools, but just in an adult level. And I also know that they also donate, they try to get people to donate country grocery receipts. And they've actually, just from donating that money through their country grocery receipts, the Clay Tree Society has made thousands and thousands of dollars in the last few years. It's unbelievable, and actually my grandfather knows this because he's worked with that Clay Tree Society. So there's special things out there too. And even here in Nanaimo, there's a Nanaimo Youth Services Association, and that I was involved with that too a little bit, and yeah, it does help a little bit. It takes time. It's definitely not a rush, but it takes time. If that makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
I know some people with autism are extra sensitive to sounds and maybe bright lights and stuff. Do you feel that you're affected by that a bit?
Sometimes when in the mornings with bright light, but not much with hearing.
Okay.
But actually, I hear really good. But the only thing that would almost make me feel like I had a heart attack is fire bells.
Yeah, right. Yes.
What I used to do in high school, what I would do is actually go outside before it goes.
Yeah.
And I could even hear it from a distance. So say from the field or from the parking lot there, I can hear it way from there.
Right.
And it would that area wouldn't scare me, but in here it would.
Yes.
So that's something people are telling me get used to it, but I really can't. Luckily I didn't have a heart attack. But I was really close. Alright, anyone else?
Do you find that you encounter a lot of people who are insensitive towards you because you have autism, or who won't be willing to accommodate your needs?
Well, I have felt embarrassed too. Actually more into high school. I felt a little embarrassed because I wasn't sure if anyone would really be interested, but actually no, I was wrong. More people were actually interested. I was telling them a lot about my life, and in exactly 2 weeks, starting in 2 weeks, everyone was just so used to me and they were just interested. Then every year later and all that, everything just got interesting and more interesting. I also was growing up playing music. I've been playing guitar for almost 13 years, and I've been just sharing all my moments in music at the time, and that's where everyone was so interested. So that was a huge step. And then I wasn't presenting then at the time until 2015. That was when, a month after I changed my life completely, I was presenting at a special place during spring break. I keep forgetting the name of it, just for spring break, and then everything just changed. And look at me now, I'm over 1,000 people. I'm already feeling famous. But yeah, if that makes sense to you. Anyone else? Just before I wrap up, want to know more information? That's my website there, www.mmkrastel.wix.com/mysite. I got more of my presentation videos on YouTube that are also put on the website. And just last night, I just filmed my presentations from last night from here at Dover. They're just on YouTube. I just got them uploaded last night. So that's something to check as well. And I also have business cards that I will pass around if anyone's interested. like this. If anyone is interested, what we'll do is, if you raise your hand, I will pass them around, and that wraps it up. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That was really